Thanks for joining. So today on my very first video on YouTube, thanks for watching, I'm going to show you how to do a basic everyday foundation routine. So this right here, I will show you how to do it. So I can show you how to cover things like rosacea if you suffer from that like I do, or if you have any pesky blemishes on your skin, I can show you how to conceal those as well. So thanks for tuning in, and follow with a primer. I use Hourglass primer. I buy it in the sample size because it's only $19 and the full size is stupid expensive. And I have oily skin. This stuff is magic. One squirt goes a long way with this. And then just rub it in. Next, I take a little bit of a green primer, so this is the Makeup Forever Step 1 in green, and that helps reduce redness, so it cancels out redness. And again, I just use my finger. You can use your fingers to rub it in. I like to use a brush just because my skin's a little bit oily. If you don't have brushes, God gave us fingers. It's not a miracle worker, but it does tone it down and it helps when you layer stuff over it. Next, I'm going to put on a little bit of concealer underneath my foundation. You don't have to do this, it's just that I have some pretty pesky spots that I like to cover. I'm going in with the Mercier concealer, if it will focus. And I'm in color 2.5. Next I'll go in for foundation. So for my foundation, I've always just been using Mary Kay. My mom sold it growing up, so I'm kind of partial to it. And it's just the TimeWise. And I'm using shade Ivory 6. I also mix in a little bit of this Lancome Belle de Tien. I don't know, I'm not saying that right. Can it focus? Okay. Anyway. Shake it up, and it's just a nice pretty rose gold, and I just put 2 drops of that on the back of my hand, and then I mix my foundation in. Then I go in with my Kabuki brush by Sigma. This is their F80. You can just use your fingers again. Once everything's covered, it's important to take it down onto your neck a little bit, just so that it fades into your natural skin. So that does a pretty good job of covering up majority of my redness and blemishes, etc. If you look in, you can still see a couple, of course. But from here, you can just leave it as is, but I feel like it's a little bit of a blank canvas. Hair. So I like to add some dimension. I do a little bit of light contouring every day. You do not have to do this, but I like to. So I'm going to go in with the NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer, one of my favorites, and I'm using the shade Custard. I'm running out, so I really gotta use it. also use this to just spot conceal a little bit of those peskier areas that are a little bit dark, still, even with foundation. So I look really cute, right? Just wait, it gets better. So once I have the highlighter on, I go in with a little bit of a darker color, a lot of it. Also in this NARS, this is Amande, and I just like to go in around my nose with a cream. I feel like it stays a little bit better on my oily skin, especially because I'm oily here, rather than a powder. So just take a little bit of this. And I mean, I don't like to take it all the way up because my nose is pretty narrow. It's just down here that it gets a little bit wide, my opinion. So from here, you gotta go in and blend. I like using this Sephora Pro Small Stippling, number 42. Obviously it's a little dirty, but I just pat it in place. I always blend from dark to light, so once that's blended, then I'll go into the light. Okay, notice I didn't really go in my eye area. I feel like because that skin is so tender and sensitive, I don't want to go in with such a big brush. So I'll go back in with this Makeup Forever brush, number 236. Again, you can just use your fingers, that works just as well. And just blend. Once that's all blended, I do like to go out and just soften this a little bit. See me almost hit myself in my eye there? Notice with this dark color, I'm always pulling it up towards the edge. I don't want to like keep the darkness out here. I want to make it look narrow, so creating a really thin line of shadow. And then it's always good just to blend around the nose a little bit. Like I said, I'm a little bit oily, so I feel like I tend to get some like bigger pores down in this area, and sometimes it looks funny when you put makeup over it. So if you go in with like a smaller detail brush or your finger and just buff that out a little bit. So pretty good. Still a little bit bland. We've got the highlight and the nose contour on. Next, I actually like to set underneath my eyes with setting powder. I'm sure you've seen this before, but I'm going in with the Mercier translucent setting powder. I've tried a lot of setting powders. I swear by this one. It's fantastic. So just shake some out. That was a lot. Whoops. And then I just go in with a beauty blender that is a little bit damp. And just press it on. I put it on all of the areas that I get really oily. So again, that's mostly my T-zone, but I like to set my under eyes, do my forehead, a little bit on my nose, and then I'm good to go. So that's it. Now I go in with powders. I go in with my contour next, and I just use the Ulta matte bronzer. It's cheap, it's great. I like finding bronzers that don't have any shimmer in them. I'm oily, I don't use a lot of like shimmery stuff on my face. I don't need that healthy glow. I glow enough, so matte colors work best for me. And I like a color that's a little bit more of like an ashy brown rather than something that has a little bit more of like a reddish orange tinge to it. For this, I'm just going to go in again with a Sephora Professionals brush. This is number 75. It's just an angled contour. You can use whatever you want. Tap off that extra. Again, you put the darker colors on like the softer areas of your skin, so like the cheeks, and blend up towards the harsh lines, so like your cheekbones. And then I like to just make my jawline stand out a little bit. You don't have to do this, but I go right underneath my jawline. So contour is done. We're getting a little bit of dimension to the face now. You can skip that if you want. You don't have to do that. I like to. Makes me feel good. And then you can finish it off with blush. I am using this brand new color that I got by NARS. It is called Sin. Oh my goodness, this color is amazing. I fell in love with it. I'm going in just with like a Tarte tapered brush. You just want to use something fluffy. Starting on the apples. Isn't that good? Maybe I need to blend this side a little bit more. Yeah. If this happens, just take a big fluffy brush that you don't have any other makeup on. And just buff it out. There, that looks a little bit better. So this is just your basic face. Obviously, I would still do my eyebrows and put on mascara at least, but this is just some basic, easy foundation that you can use every day. So thanks for watching today, guys. If you have any questions or comments, definitely post them down below. I will, of course, respond to everybody. Thank you so much for your time, and I hope you learned something.